and welcome to another episode of After School All-Stars Hawaii's Arts and Crafts Corner with me, Tosa. Today we will be making a bath salt scrub made out of Epsom salt and a few other ingredients that you can easily find at any store. And all the products that I have today I got at Walmart, so it is a one-stop shop project. And it is really fun. I was feeling summer-y, and what better than watermelon for summer? So I actually decorated this jar, but we'll get into that in a little bit. And again, this is a great gift. You can add a tag on it, you can add instructions, or just like a message, happy birthday, anything like that. Great gift to give others that you love. So let's go over the materials that we need and then we'll get started. The first thing that you're going to need is a bag of Epsom salt. This is the fragrance-free version. There are other versions, but I like this one because I can kind of do whatever I want to it. And this is a small bag, but it is 4 pounds, and you can make maybe about 4 to 5 jars, depending on the jar size, with this bag. The next thing that you're going to need are cups. I have 2 cups because I'm only making 2 colors, but if you wanted to add more color, just make separate cups for each one. You're also going to need twine. This is for the decoration, the string holding the tag. You do not need to use that, but it is a great touch, and this twine lasts for a really long time. You can do like all different types of projects with it. You're also going to need a jar. This is a small jelly jar, but you could use anything really. You could use like food, baby food jars, or your old jelly jars if you have bigger ones. Or even candles. As long as it comes with a lid, you do want to make sure that it's sealed. When moisture gets in, it kind of loses its scent and color. Speaking of scent, you're going to need a jar of scent. I got this at Walmart, and it is Sweet Orange Smell by Creative You. Also, you're going to need your soap dyes, not food coloring dyes, but soap dyes. You want to make sure that it is friendly for your sink and bathtub. You do not want to cause any discoloration. Make sure you're asking your parents again for use before you use any of these products. And I got pink and green because those are the colors of the watermelon. You're also going to need a pair of scissors. This is for cutting the twine and the cardstock for your tag. You're going to need a hole puncher. You're going to need a Sharpie, and you're going to need 1 piece of paper. So go ahead and pause here to grab your materials, and I'll see you back in a minute. All right, welcome back. Let's get started on our project, guys. So the first thing that I do when I'm thinking about my jar is, again, if you saw on my jar, I drew little seeds, watermelon seeds, on the area where I wanted the pink to go. So not only does it serve as decoration, but it also serves as a reminder of how much green versus pink I want to add, which is roughly about half-half, same portions. And I'm going to just go for the front of the jar, which is labeled ball. I don't know if you can see it, but it is raised glass. I like to present my jars in a certain way, and the brand is always nice when it's on the front. So I am going to just draw little seeds, and how that is going to look is I'm just going to draw a teeny tiny circle with a triangle point on top and color it all in. The size of your seeds doesn't matter, but again, you want to make sure that you're doing about the top half of your jar, and I am just kind of eyeballing it, but I'm gonna stick more towards the top when I'm doing it, and I put like 6 or 7, but you can do the whole front. We're just gonna decorate, or the whole side, we're just gonna decorate the front, just for viewing purposes. So again, I'm gonna draw a circle, and then a little triangle on top of that, and I'm just gonna color them in, and that's my seed. And if I feel like I need to make anything connect, I just do that. So I'm gonna draw them all different types of directions. Kind of also just think of drawing like a raindrop or a teardrop. That would also be the shape of a watermelon seed. So I'm just drawing little seeds on the front of my jar. I'm gonna do just 2 more, and I'm trying to do them again different directions. I feel like that's what makes it unique. So we're just gonna add 3 and then 4. All right. You can also do this with paint if you have paint. Especially if you're trying to like do a bigger jar, I feel like it would be a lot faster than the Sharpie. But maybe that's something you can do and let us know. All right, so I've got my 4 seeds in the front of the jar, and I'll probably add some more after, but for now, that's good. Let it dry because you don't want it to get all over your fingers, so I'm just gonna put that off to the side. And the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to take our 2 cups. I just have red Solo cups. It could be any cup. Again, please ask for parent permission because you are adding dye and you don't want to discolor anything. And I am going to pour roughly about 1/4, so about right here, of salt into both of my cups. Also, you want to make sure you squish your bag just to break up any big pieces, because I see if it's been sitting in the store for a while, it can harden, especially because we live in a humid climate, and so you want to make sure that you kind of squish it. So I'm going to pour a little bit more, 1/4 cup of salt. You can see the salt is in my cup. Put a little bit too much, that's okay because the other cup can use some. And then I'm going to make sure I seal that really, really good. Move it off to the side, and I'll just add a little bit so they're equal. It's always better to just have a little bit more for this kind of project because you're not quite sure how much it's going to fill up your jar. And so you want to make sure, especially when we're pressing it down, that you do have a little bit extra. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pink food coloring and I'm going to put about 20 to 30 drops in there, or just squeezing it like 3 to 4 times. I'm gonna do the same thing for the green. Make sure you're not pouring it into the same one you just did though. That would be horrible. I'm gonna let this sit for a second. And then we are going to add our scent. So this one comes with a little dropper, which is super cool. So I'm actually gonna place it on the table. And then, so you gotta pull it up. This little black piece was on top of there. So you're going to press it shut, just like how you would with medicine. And I'm going to do 1 whole drop of scent. Then I'm going to make sure I put my stuff back. And we are going to let that sit for about 30 seconds, and then we will be right back. All right, welcome back. So I realized I didn't have a fork or anything to mix the salt in my cup with, so I ran and grabbed a fork. Please make sure you have like a stick or something that you can stir it with that won't get ruined by the soap coloring. So we're now going to take our cup, and as you can see, I've got my pink soap coloring inside here and my green in this cup, and we're just going to mix. We're going to do one at a time, just to ensure that we are not blending colors. So I'm going to take this one, move it out of the way so I don't knock it over, and I'm just going to stir it in a circular motion. Make sure that you are going all the way to the bottom of the cup, because there sometimes ends up being like a white band on the bottom that doesn't get food coloring. So make sure you're doing that, and it is going to get a little wet because you have both scent and soap coloring in there, so you want to make sure you mix it really good. And I think this is actually still a little bit too light. It's a very light pink color, so I'm going to add just a little bit more. And this is kind of like where you can play with how you want to create it. If you like the light pink or you like it darker, I guess up to you. So I'm just going to do 2 more squirts of pink in there. This is a very light pink color, but I'm sure it would work so well in regular soap. So I'm just going to keep stirring, making sure I'm getting the sides of the cup. Last one, guys. Okay, mix, stir. Make sure you're being careful and not going crazy so that the salt doesn't go everywhere. It is salt. You don't want it to get in your carpet or all over the table. It'll be hard to clean up. Okay, so I'm done with my pink. I'm just gonna take my fingers, and again, this is completely safe. It's just salt and soap coloring. Same stuff that you have in your soap that you use every day. All right, I'm gonna move this to the side now. Happy with that. And now I'm going to take my green. And I feel like green's a little bit darker, so it definitely like doesn't require as much dye. I only put like the 4 squirts of it in here, and it's pretty much the color already that I want. Again, you want to make sure you get it all the way to the bottom. Just gonna add one more, salted all over my hand, one more little squirt of it in there. Right, don't want it to be too green. It won't match the pink. Okay. It smells like oranges. They didn't have any watermelon, but orange was the next best thing. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to take our jar, take off the lid and the metal lid on the inside. We're gonna place that to the side. Be careful with that. And we're going to take our green first because it is the rind of the watermelon, so I like it on the bottom. You could do pink on top though, it doesn't matter, but if you do pink down here, make sure you draw the seeds down there. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to take my green and I'm going to very carefully with my fork push it all in there. Oh, it's so pretty. It's like a minty green almost. I'm gonna pour the whole thing in there. Again, make sure you scrape the sides. You don't want to leave any product or waste anything. Move my cup to the side. Make sure I clean that first. And you're going to just with your fork, take it and push it around the side. I'm moving the jar around in a circle. That way I'm pushing all the product evenly around. And then I'm making sure that I'm using the tip of the fork up against the glass just so it evenly pats it down, because this is a big part of the presentation, is that crisp line that the watermelon has with the rind and the actual fruit itself. So I'm just pushing down, making sure that it's nice and flat. Be very careful please, because you have metal on glass. Or I mean, anytime you're using glass, just be very careful. All right, I'm gonna scoop off whatever's on the fork and just give that one more good pat in the middle. Got back on, okay. And then I'm going to just check the edges. Please be careful. Again, this is glass. Pat down where I can see it's still kind of like up. All right, and 2 hands. We are going to prep it now for the pink. So I'm gonna take my pink and I'm going to, again, very carefully scoop it from the cup into the jar. Don't wanna just throw it all in there. Gentle is the better way to go. And I'm actually gonna go a little bit slower this time. So I still have about half inside there. And I'm just gonna start patting this down. Same process, but this time you wanna be careful because you're pushing the pink underneath the rim of the jar on the corners. And so there is an extra space. And so I'm just kind of being careful with my fork. I don't wanna shove my fork in there because I take the chance of mixing the pink and the green. So just being very careful, very delicate, and just tapping the pink in there. And again, remember it is a little wet from the scent and the dye, and it won't stay that wet. Right now it's kind of sticking to the sides of the jar, but just be mindful of that. Just go slow. All right, and at this point it's already almost filled the complete jar, but I want to make sure that it goes up a little bit higher, because if this jar accidentally falls over, all the color is gonna mix. Which is fine, it won't do anything different, but then your design will be gone and all that hard work is for nothing. So I'm just gonna scoop out the rest of the pink in my cup. There we go. And again, I'm gonna put this cup off to the side and make sure I clean it before I either use it again or dispose of it. All right, so I'm gonna just continue to push this into the corners. Any gaps I see that I feel like you can see from the outside of the jar. The metal lid will cover everything that is on the the edging right here, so it's not a big deal. But again, like if you don't want your colors to bleed or you think it might fall over, like just be mindful you can fill it to the top. All right, so I'm just gonna create another tight, nice, clean line. Again, presentation is everything. All the way around, just gently patting. Clean this off. Just pat it down with my finger. Also too, please make sure you've washed your hands before you make anything for anyone, and that everything that you're using is clean. All right. Okay, that is the last step for that. I'm gonna put my fork away as well. That definitely needs to be washed. Okay, so I'm gonna take my lid and I'm going to seal this shut. There you go. Get a nice tight grip on that. And that is what it looks like so far without the string and the tag. So we are going to make that now. So I'm gonna take my twine and I'm going to use about 3 feet of string. Yeah, about 3 feet. Again, please be careful when you're cutting or using scissors. Okay, I'm gonna put that to the side. Next, we're going to take a piece of paper and we are going to create the label for the jar. So I'm going to take my scissors and very carefully, I'm going to cut about a 1 inch by 4 inch strip of paper. And this is going to serve as my name tag, or again, my gift tag. I'll put my scissors down, put my paper to the side. I'm going to fold my paper in half, and I'm just gonna make sure that none of the edges are crooked. So I'm gonna very carefully just chop my paper off where it's overlapping on one side, because presentation is everything, guys. And then I'm going to decide how I want it to rest. So do I want it to like sit on this side? Do I want it to actually be like attached to the lid? How do I want it? But I want it attached to the twine. So I'm going to take my hole punchers and I'm actually gonna pop a hole in the top left corner of my name tag. So I'm gonna do that now. Again, try to make sure that you're getting it away from the edges of the paper, because the closer it is to the edge, the easier it will be to rip. So I just pop the hole in my name tag, and this is the part where you want to fill it out. So I'm just going to very quickly just write on the front, just so it can be complete. I'm gonna write to you, because this gift is for you, love, or heart, ASAS, After School All-Stars. And it will look like that. On the jar that I created, I actually wrote instructions on the inside. So it tells you the ingredients, which is, again, Dr. Teal's Epsom salt, sweet orange scent, and soap dye. And then I also gave the instructions. You can kind of tell them anything that you want, but if you want them to use this for a long time, I said use 2 tablespoons in warm water to relax. I reminded them to keep the lid sealed, and I said enjoy. So those were just little notes that I put on mine. You can put anything that you want on yours. Happy birthday, thank you for everything you do. Sky's the limit. So I actually drew a few more C's on my front, just because I wanted to make sure that it looked as complete as possible when I went and grabbed my fork. So I'm going to just take the twine. So I've got my twine right here, and I'm going to start in the front. because that is where I want to end. So I'm going to make sure that I have enough to wrap around that. So I'm going to wrap 3 times, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to twist it around. So I'm going to take my tag and I'm going to tie this real quick on here just so it doesn't move. Nice secure knot, and then I'm going to put the 2 strings together and I'm going to push my tag through, and it's going to go on both strings. That way when I make the cute little bow, it's right dead center. And I'm gonna do one more tie just so that it keeps the tag in place now, and then I'm gonna do my little bow. Oh, and then also too, if you feel like any of the twine are just looking out a little bit, this twine is a lot more frayed, but it makes for a cute design, so that's all right. But I would just chop off any pieces that go over into the body of the jar, just so it looks more presentable. And move the paper to the front. And voila, you are done. I've got my watermelon thank you gift, which is wonderful for anyone, any holiday, any occasion, or just to say thank you. These are wonderful gifts. And I also love doing that. Yeah, I don't know. It calms my soul. So we have both of our watermelon jars ready to go, and ready to make someone's day. So thank you so much for staying with me today and making this fun project. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you are ready for summer now with your watermelon scrub. Again, please don't forget to like, share, follow, and comment on our @AllStars Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube for more. You guys have a great day. Aloha.